What is going on, guys? My name is AK back in with another YouTube video. Now, I've been playing competitive Call of Duty for around 7 years now. I started when I was 11 all the way back in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and now in Black Ops Cold War I'm 18, and it came to mind that the one main thing I struggled with across all of those years competing has actually been being able to get a good balance between schoolwork and putting enough time and passion into competitive Call of Duty. Now, I will just quickly say, this is from my experience playing Call of Duty. Whatever other esports game you play, I'm sure this will apply to you too, so just because you don't play Call of Duty doesn't mean you have to click away. With that aside, what I thought in today's video I'd do is I'd just explain the tips and tricks and sort of the things that I did that actually helped me personally find a good balance between being able to put all my time and passion into competitive Call of Duty, get really good at the game, and also get the best grades in my school to allow me to do pretty much whatever I want to do if this doesn't work out. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you have to get the best grades in your school, but getting good grades are definitely very important. I know I don't want to sound like a typical parent when I say this, but let's be honest, there is a lot of luck and a lot of skill that not everybody has when it comes to competitive play, and although I think I have a good chance of doing it, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket and say it is going to happen, and having a backup option if it doesn't is something that I think is very important. But I'll go into more detail about my plans for the future years later in the video, but hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. If you do, be sure to drop a like, and let's get straight into it. So the first few points that we're making are all based around the principle of doing as much work that you possibly can at school so that when you come home, you have as much time to compete in your game of choice. So one of the main things that I did to actually do this was do as much homework as I possibly can at school. So, you know, all of your subject teachers will set you homework that you have to do for each subject. And a lot of this can actually be done in school, in lunch times, in break times, in form times. That's what we had at our school. I'm sure wherever you are in the world, you have some time during the day where you are not doing lessons. And so spend that time to do your homework. I mean, not everything can be done in school. I know sometimes you've got big projects or presentations and things like that that need to be done. Of course, you have to do them at home, find the time to fit them in. But ideally, if possible, any homework that you can do at school, make sure you do. That's something that I did, and I do find actually doing it at school, you're kind of in the sort of the mental zone to be doing work, so you generally get it done faster as well. So not only are you not having to do it at home, you're also getting it done faster. So in my eyes, that's a win-win. So my next point is actually to pay attention in class. You know, that time is set aside to learn a certain thing, so make sure that you're using your time in school efficiently. You don't want to have to come home and have to re-go over topics or have to get tutors in. That's again going to be taking up more time because you didn't actually focus in class in the first place. Now, this is again something I did. I made sure to utilize every single bit of school time for schoolwork. I didn't think about anything else because, of course, that was the time to get that done, and that meant that when I came home, there was less to think about, there's less that I had to go over. I mean, there's always going to be topics that you struggle with, and by all means, use whatever time you need to get good at them, but just for the sort of a general rule of thumb, work as hard as you can in lessons so that you don't have to work harder when you get home. I think one thing that's helped really a lot with was actually revising. So you'd go to the end of topic test and you'd have to think, okay, so I need to learn all of this. You'd look through your revision book, you'd just tick it off. I know that, I know that, I know that. You'd go in, ace the test, and it works very well. Whereas if you hadn't learned it, you then have to come home and you have to sort of teach it to yourself. Maybe you don't teach it yourself as well. So not only does it take you longer, you also don't get as good of a grade. Anything like that. I know I don't want to sound like a parent, but it is just something that you should think about. Make sure you're using your time wisely. Also, another thing that's quite important is doing any prep the night before as opposed to in the morning. So if you play Call of Duty, you'll know the scene is very nocturnal. Like, people don't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, would I advise that? Probably not. You should be getting, how many hours is it? 8 hours of sleep? Something around that. I ideally would get that. You want that for school and for even just to be competing in your game of choice at a higher level. You need to be getting a decent amount of sleep. But in order to stay up later and get as much game time as possible, make sure that you've done all your prep. So if you bring in a lunch, make sure you've made that the night before, make sure your bag's packed, you've got all your books ready, everything like that. Make sure you've got that sorted the night before so you can pretty much come straight off the game, go to bed, don't have to worry about sorting anything out, and then when you get up in the morning, you've got a little bit more time to sleep because you've already sorted all your stuff out the night before. Now, next I want to talk about is don't treat school as just something that you need to get done so then you can go play esports. I think it is something, especially for me, that I've tried to focus on quite hard to make sure I can get as good of a grade possible, and I think my results show that I have actually done that quite well. I mean, it has sort of come quite natural to me, but still, I have put in quite a lot of work to make sure that sort of path, if competitive Call of Duty in my case it doesn't work out, that there is something that I can go and do sort of elsewhere. For instance, for me, I've got A levels in physics, maths, chemistry, further maths, you know, that kind of academic stuff, which if Call of Duty doesn't work out, which is not going to say that it's not, I will put everything into that, but if it doesn't work out, I do still have those backup options available to me. Maybe not necessarily something in school, maybe you've got a family business or something, but you need something as a backup option, and for most people that is going to be going to school or having the ability to go to college or university, wherever you are in the world. So definitely make sure that you have an option as a backup, at least so that if it doesn't work out, you've got something to fall back on. And this brings me to the point where I talk about what are my plans for the future. So for those of you that watch my live streams, you'll know a little bit about that. Essentially, I finished my exams just a little bit earlier this year, a couple months back, or about a month or so ago. And the plan had been from the start that I was going to go to uni, because when I first started competing, I was about 11. My parents were like, this will blow over. It's just a phase. He'll move on to something else. But as the years went by and I was still consistently serious about this, they decided to let me have a gap year. So I'm not going to go to uni this year, whereas most of my school friends are. Instead, I have got a deferred entry for next year. So I have an entire year to try and make Call of Duty work out. If it doesn't work out, then I go to uni. And if it does work out, then I can just say goodbye to that offer and continue my career as a competitive Call of Duty player if it does work out. But definitely, if you seriously think you can get somewhere in competitive gaming, which if you're watching this video, I assume you probably think you can, consider a gap year. I don't know how they work sort of around the rest of the world, but in the UK, they're very easy. You just apply for a deferred year. A whole load of people do it for all sorts of reasons. People go traveling, people go work experience, anything like that. So taking a year off to try and pursue one of your dreams is definitely something that I think is worth it. But that is about it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.